Oh yeah, sexy biscuits. Nice.
Long boy clothes, 1975. A used world's on the rise. Reviewing games late at night and sometimes friends used to bug me. Long boys clothes, 1975.
Hey YouTube, Long Boys Post 1975. Welcome back to another retro video game comparison. Now it's Wednesday. I've just got back from work. Don't worry, the Wednesday vlog's not going anywhere. Just on a week or a couple of weeks break, mainly because it's Christmas. There will be one before Christmas. Obviously, I have to do my Christmas message that I do every year. But I'm getting really back into these comparison videos, and you've read the title. And I think it's a no-brainer at some point because it's, you know, one of my favourite fighting games. Well, no, it's my favourite fighting game of all time. That I would do a comparison on Street Fighter 2, specifically Super Street Fighter 2, with the exception of one of these games, but we'll get to that. Super Street Fighter 2, or mainly so Street Fighter 2, is a very, very important game for me. It was a groundbreaking fighter built upon, you know, its predecessor that was by no means perfect, but set this sort of template. I think you could say it was Yia Kung Fu fully realised, and then obviously that led to Street Fighter 2 when they banged out all the elements, you know, ironed out all the creases. I have no idea why I'm doing that. Came up with this fully realised fighter that set the standard, the bar of modern fighters that everyone's been pretty much, you know, emulating ever since. The first time I ever played it was in a diner cum bar cum arcade in Boston called the Winner's Circle. They had Mad Dog McCree, they had the Simpsons arcade machine, they had like a bowling alley, amazing food, and they had the original Street Fighter machine, and I fell in love with it. Then the next time, you know, because it was like, I think it was the first big proper game that made people want to upgrade to a Super Famicom or a SNES, but in my case I had a Super Famicom. I imported it from Japan, the original one, which is incredibly slow and hokey by today's standards, and while not arcade perfect, was pretty damn close and blew everyone's minds back in the day. And then, you know, I played it on the Megadrive and stuff like that, and it just became an absolutely amazing game. And then there was stuff like, you know, I think the first system that really did it true justice, even though you could argue that SNES did, was the 3DO version. So the versions I want to compare is not the arcade, because sadly or unfortunately my Wii is how I run MAME, and it simply does not have the grunt to run Street Fighter 2. But the reason I'm going to play these versions is I want to talk about the main home ports, and by that I'm excluding Amiga, Atari ST, Spectrum, Commodore, Amstrad and all that, because as much as we may be fanboys of those systems, they're terrible versions. I think it's safe to say that the first person people played was the SNES, then it was the Mega Drive, and then the holy grail at the time was the 3DO. So that three versions I'm going to play, and also I'm going to tack on the PC Engine. While not many people got to play that version, you know, it's up there with the 16-bit sort of, you know, versions of that period of time. I mean, that specific era in the 90s. So let's get into this. Okay, now that looks absolutely really cool. So this is Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo X Grandmaster Challenge, which is obviously the Japanese name for it. This will be the first version we're going to play. Right, going to skip that. I believe, wasn't this the first version that had Akuma in? Now, obviously you're going to say, well, the 3DO's only got 5-button pad. Yeah, it only has a 5-button pad, but you can actually use, is it pause is one of the buttons? It's not perfect, so you've got 6 buttons. I'm just going to simplify the controls. There was a 6-button pad released for it. Now, I think that's uber expensive and rare now. First thing is, we're going to drop the difficulty, because I haven't played this in ages, and we're going to fudge the controls. So, medium, hard punch, and kick. So I'm just going to use those 3 controls. Now, this was released in Japan in 1994, in November, and then later on in North America and Europe. So I think pretty much the next month, wasn't it? It was generally considered arcade perfect at the time. It's really close, but it's not actually arcade perfect. It's got remastered soundtrack, I believe. It's also got some backgrounds that don't fully scroll. The sprites are brilliant, and it is also the only version or home system, I believe, outside of the arcade that it has simultaneous button cancels. Now, You got to remember, this is 1994, so I remember drawing the shit over this in magazines. Had I only played the 16-bit versions, particularly the Megadrive and SNES version. At that point, let's go with Ken. He's always my favourite. So this was absolutely something else. Right, let's go. I'm gonna get my ass kicked. Ah, Fei Long. Basically, you're Bruce Lee. Right, now look at this. The sprites are freaking huge. The music is absolutely fantastic. Oh shit. Straight Dragon Punch. The control, even on this pad, because it's not the greatest pad in the world, the controls are super tight, but yeah, graphically stunning. I mean, this still holds up, and as I said, this is as close as you could get. Oh yeah, you got the super moves. Well, of course you have it, it's Super Street Fighter. Yeah, the graphics, are absolutely stunning. But yeah, this was as close as you could get to an arcade port. Because, I mean, right, it came out later on, didn't it, on the Dreamcast, which would be the proper sort of, up from the 16-bit versions. But this just looks like something else. Right. Okay. Oh, there's a weak kick. I don't remember the first level of Fei Long being this good. I do remember him being massively... Oh, you wanker! Oh, bollocks, double button press. Shit. Should we just cheap out? Fuck. How'd you get the... Bollocks. Yeah, get some of that in your life. I can't talk and play for shit. Bollocks, bollocks, bollocks. I've got to say though, I'm absolutely taken in by the visuals. They look stunning. He's got roids, that's why he does that. Right, and apparently now the dragons decide to move. Don't know about you, but I'd be fighting, looking over my shoulder and think, Jesus Christ, there's a fucking dragon in there. Right, okay? Thanks for the heads up there on how to do the moves. Try a different speed. Let's try a different character. Let's go with Chun-Li. Good old Chun-Li. Does it mean the map's not backwards on this one? Boring random fact, I believe this has the best loading times on the 3DO. Also, isn't this technically be the first CD-ROM version of Street Fighter? Ah, I do like the Stampy move. Hey, she got magic in this one? I'm fucked if I can remember how to do it. Fuck, how'd you do spinning bird kick? Oh, it's that move, isn't it? Bollocks. Ow, and I'm toast. Right, I'm absolutely sucking at this, but for the purpose of a gameplay, I'm going to call it quits there. But yeah, really, really, really impressed. Like, really impressed. It's come flooding back at how good this looks. Right, on to the next version, methinks. So this is Super Street Fighter. This is Super Street Fighter 2, the new challenges on the SNES. That looks absolutely awesome, I mean, to the untrained eye, you probably say that looked as good as a 3DO version. This was released in 1994 by Capcom. Pretty sure this was released before the 3DO version, which, well, no, it must have been, because the 3DO version has Akuma, which I forgot to mention in the previous gameplay. I got no idea what the controls are. I'm going to go with the same. I'm actually playing this on Virtual Console, on my Wii U, actually, not even through the Wii mode. Super Battle, versus Battle, Group Battle, Tournament, This does look superb, but been a while since I played it, so it'll be interesting to see how it compares to the 3DO version. Yeah, you guessed it. Going with Ken. immediately you can tell, unsurprisingly, that the music is nowhere near as good. But then, hey, in its defence, it's still fantastic. You know, it doesn't have a bloody CD. Sprites are nice and big. If this is the PAL version, does that mean Wanking Man's been taken out? Oh, there's a comparison I should have done. Ow! Fucking Van Damme. This pad is horrible for doing moves. Try Dragon Punch. Nope. Yeah, I'm playing on the Wii U pad. It's not the greatest pad for this. I can't find my Pro pad. Sorry, my bacon and sirloin steak sandwich for breakfast has really caught up with me. But yeah, it doesn't look as good as a 3DO, but this looks absolutely fantastic. But then I guess it should, because what iteration is this of a Street Fighter game on the SNES at this point? We have Street Fighter, there is the one which if you play now is unbelievably slow. Then didn't we have the is it Championship Edition? Right, is there an option to speed it up? Won't be in the pause menu, will it? Backgrounds, I mean I can't compare the backgrounds because I'm on different stage, but I mean, like, some of the background animations are missing in the 3DO. Are they missing in this, though? I would have thought they are. Attack me if you dare, I will crush you. Oh, Zangief, Zangief, Zangief. If you know what you're doing, he can absolutely hammer the shit out of you. If you don't, you're just a target with bad hair and, well, hairy knees waiting to get your ass kicked. Right, I was blurred. They didn't censor this version then, did they? Why did you to me? Yeah, look, because it was well, this version wasn't censored, but the other two were, weren't they? I know my first one I had on my Super Famicom that I paid 75 quid for to import was censored. Looked like they were thrown up instead. Yeah, Toasty Toasty, you would stink right now. Come on, seriously. But yeah, this is really, really impressive. I mean, we know that the SNES was an impressive machine, but... And we all drooled over the 3DO version, but there's no denying we were not, you know, dealt a bad deal with this version. Right, it'll be really interesting to see now, to jump to the exact same version of this version, but on the Sega Megadrive. Okay, so this is Super Street Fighter 2, new challenges on the Sega Megadrive, also released in 1994 by Capcom. I think this was the first version of the game I actually played. Now, obviously that's not as impressive, way not as impressive as the SNES version. That's not to say it's bad. Even from that screen, the first thing you can tell is everything's going to be a lot smaller and the music is going to be a lot worse. Right, new challenges, where's game start? Option, set controls. Okay, so controls are set, let's skip that. I do remember this being really, really impressive when I played it at the time. It wasn't until I played the SNES Super Famicom version afterwards. I had a weird crossover period with my consoles between having a Super Famicom and a Mega Drive. So, right, now this was quite interesting because wasn't it the biggest cartridge at the time on the Mega Drive? Was it 64 or I don't know? It's on my shelf. I can't see it. I should check. Oh well. Again, this is was refined because there was Championship Edition, wasn't there? Which I believe was, you know, the first one to have speed up modes compared to the original version on the SNES. Yeah, I'm going with Ken. Yeah, the music's by no means terrible. It just can't compete with Super Famicom version. I have the 6-button pad. I had a third-party 6-button pad or two for this, and they're actually really good. Right, the sprites are tiny. It must be really cold in here. You know, that's not its fault. And the music is really weak. But what's also weird is the speech is, I mean, I remember the Mega Drive being, you know, more than capable of speech. Maybe it's because it was such, you know, there's a way to speed this up so you get a better comparison of this and the SNES version. But yeah, I don't remember, you know, I certainly don't remember. It sounded like a fucking horse. I don't remember the speech being that bad, but yeah. I mean, did the SNES have bigger storage capacity as standard or something? I've got no idea. Who are you kicking? I was trying to do a Dragon Punch. Oh, he's got sexy moves. I don't, but, hey, there's two people kicking the snot out of each other. Let's have a party. Yeah, you know what? After playing the SNES version, the SNES was comparable to the 3DO version. I'm not saying it was, you know, anywhere near in its league, but it was comparable. This is Street Fighter. This is, you know, there's no denying this is a version of Street Fighter. But see the sound? But there's a big difference between this and the SNES version, and that's not me starting Playground Wars, and I, you know my love of the Mega Drive, but yeah, quite surprised at that. Right. My flatmate at the time was absolutely fucking amazing with Down syndrome. He used to drive me up the wall. He could just keep me in the fucking corner and shit. No, you don't. Ow, you bastard. Ow! Don't throw me on my lovely head. You think it's fucking cheap to get hair like this? You can't see my roots, so that's a lot of money. That's what I mean. So what I mean, he can really keep his, if you know what you're doing with him, he can properly fuck you up to the point where it frustrates the shit out of you. So you come in. It's like that bit in X-Men 3 where Storm twats the person who can move really fast. Bye! Land on the spittoon. Or is it a shisha? Oh, how many? Now that would be an interesting thing to see on the 3DO, but obviously the levels we start on are different. How many elephants are in the 3DO version? And the SNES, I'm pretty sure the SNES would probably be the same as this. Again, I can't really determine the levels I start on without making the video extremely long. But you know what, this is impressive. Really, really impressive for what it is. I mean, like I said, towards the end of its life, they pulled off some really good things with the Mega Drive, like, Fate Mode 7 and stuff like that. But cramming, because people didn't think that Street Fighter was possible on the Mega Drive, did they? Wasn't it originally rumoured to be a Mega CD or Sega CD game? I don't know, but yeah, this certainly doesn't hold up as well as I thought it would against the SNES version. Quite surprised with that. Now on to the final version, which is the version I'd be most interested to see how it holds up against everything we've seen prior. So this is Street Fighter Champion Edition on the PC Engine, released in 1993 by NEC. Now obviously it's a prior edition that I'm going to compare to, the Mega Drive, the SNES and the 3DO, but in its defense, this was the version they got. Now I remember being amazed when I finally got to play this as an adult that they even managed to do it. I'm playing on a 2-button pad, which is funny because you can't pause the game. You have to press start to flip between punch and kick. So you press start, then you're in kick mode, press start again, you're in punch mode, and use run as one of the buttons. There was a 6-button pad, but that's how they kind of worked around. And it takes some getting used to, but it's pretty good. But now, as you would expect, the sound is going to suffer massively in this, as is the music. There's no way it's going to compare to the Mega Drive, and certainly not the SNES. PC Engine wasn't renowned for its, we'll go with 3 music abilities. Right, out of time. Right, hang on. Right, so run. I want. Does that punch? You. And then if I go that, I want you. You think? No, hang on. Right, like. What mode? It doesn't say what I'm in. Change is select. Right, so we'll have that. And then if I press select. I'm confused. This is all very confusing. Okay. Fuck it, let's just go with it. I've done gameplay of this before, I can't remember how I set it up. But the controls aren't really its fault. Now, as I said, it's the previous edition, or prior edition of the franchise game. So, as you can hear the music there, you got the old style select screen. Obviously, you don't have the new characters as well, but the fact that they pulled this off on, I think it was probably an expanded cue card, or I hate the phrase turbo chip, but again, his hair looks terrible there. Yeah, it's still really, really, really impressive. Right, it's ordered. There we go. Nice. I got it. Right. Not bad, because like you said, I got to press run to flip it around, but I'm assuming, did this come out in the West? I'm assuming it didn't, but right, the sprites are really small. Would I say they're around about the same size as the Mega Drive? Possibly. But think about it, it's an 8-bit machine, people. It may have a 16-bit graphics, Right, let's change it onto a Dragon Punch. Oh, fuck. Yeah, there we go. Controls are tight once you get used to the pad. I'm absolutely really impressed with this. Right, change. Fireball. There we go. Ah, that's interesting. Sorry, I know what I'm doing now. It's not. I've mapped the keys really weird, so I want to have, you know, hard punch on one button, hard kick on the other, but I've actually got changes between kick and punch with the first fire button. Yeah, that's kind of weird. Not as weird as his face, eh? Oh, that one's got the backward map. Sorry, my bad. They must have fixed it on the, you know, new challenges and stuff. No, you don't. Okay, look at the way the background moves. That's really impressive. Is that a barber sign? Actually, if you're gonna just for the purpose of gameplay cheap out and do hard moves, actually kind of works quite well like this. No you don't, no you don't, no you don't. Hey! Right, I forgot how impressive this is. I am really, really, really impressed with this. Now this is a really, really difficult one for me to judge, you know, because from a technical perspective, the best version is not the version I like the most. There's no denying that the 3DO version is absolutely fantastic, while not arcade perfect, while backgrounds don't necessarily scroll properly like the arcade, and you know, there were some limitations made to it. It looked like the arcade. It was that one that, at least when I was a kid in magazines, having played the, you know, the SNES and Megadrive version, went absolutely batshit crazy over. I mean, it was absolutely fantastic. I think also the other one, it's unfair to compare it to the other versions because how expensive the hardware was at the time, and also because the technology, you know, it had more, you know, frames of animation, etc. like that. So I'm kind of excluding that from this rating system, I would say. Then obviously there's the SNES or Super Famicom. If you played the Super Famicom version or the American SNES version, the NTSC versions I should say, then you realise it's an absolutely fantastic port. Unfortunately, more so with the earlier Street Fighter games, I would say. If you played the PAL versions on the, you know, the UK SNES and European SNESs, and I guess, you know, Oceania SNESs, you would realise that it was a heavily bordered 50Hz slow piece of shit. But it's NTSC form. It's absolutely fantastic. Big sprites, controls well, less frames of animation than the 3DO than you would expect. Absolutely amazing. So much of my life was sunk into it. So, you know, that's a contender. Sadly, as it pains me to say this, being a Megadrive fanboy, the Megadrive version, which is a fully competent and realised and very playable version of Street Fighter, it is Street Fighter. And in both cases, by the way, with the SNES and the Megadrive, you've got to remember, this wasn't the first iteration of Street Fighter on these machines, so they had time to hone them, but it just, sadly, it can't compete with the SNES. Smaller sprites, the speech is terrible, the music, well, we'll forgive that, because I like Megadrive music, but it just simply can't compete. I've got to say, it pains me to say the SNES is better than the Megadrive, but this is where it's going to surprise people, and I think it might be because I like an underdog. I would say the most impressive version of all those ones I played, and the one that I actually really, really enjoy the most, simply because running on the hardware that it does, is the PC Engine version. It's absolutely fantastic. If you have a 6-button pad, so you don't have to get around the confines of the rudimentary system they set up for you to play with, you know, 2 buttons, you know, pad, which does work if you hone your skills and practice and practice and practice. It's just, it looks absolutely amazing. Bear in mind, 16-bit graphics chip or not, it's an 8-bit processor, so on paper, technically, I would think it shouldn't be able to do it. Sound suffers. Sound is the weakest on the PC Engine out of all these systems, obviously. But out of this comparison video, I would say PC Engine first, mainly because I like the underdog, possibly not the technically best. Then I would say SNES, then Megadrive, and then the 3DO, which is absolutely amazing. I don't think it's fair to compare 16-bit systems to 32-bit systems. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later.